Hello and welcome to Homes for Lambus YouTube channel. My name is Claire and welcome to your slow flow yoga practice. So let's come to get started. You can find any comfortable seat. I'm opting for kneeling, but you could sit cross-legged or maybe on a cushion, blanket or yoga block. Come to ground your hands down onto your thighs. Find a really tall spine and literally do that. So, think about growing your spine both from the front of that spinal column and from the back. Roll your shoulders back just a couple of times. Set the shoulder blades onto your back. Neck is really nice and long and chin is ever so slightly tucked. And then let's close down the eyes. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Let's do that again. Full breath in. Let your day go. Exhale out of the mouth. And then change your breath to breathing through your nostrils only. And inhale, filling up nostrils, and an exhale, exhaling through the nostrils. Finding stillness through the body. Consciously stripping away any additional movements that you are tempted to do, whether that's a fidget, a scratch of the head or nose. Noticing how it feels to make that decision to find stillness. And so even by fidgeting the body around, it's using up energy. And so we're now trying to harness that energy and draw it in to ourselves rather than expelling it out. Soften the gaze. And so even behind those closed eyelids, there is a sense of softness. And you're doing nothing right now with the breath other than turning your attention to it and just noticing how when we look at the breath of its own accord starts to slow. And with that slowing down of breath, we feel the whole body and mind just start to relax a little. So settling into your body, dropping away from your day. Just giving yourself the time to find stillness, not just in the physical body, but to find stillness in the chatterings of the mind, maybe the fluctuations of the heart, if there is emotional stuff and fluttering going on internally, just finding that inner quiet as well. Let's take a few more breaths here. Body is still upright, spine is still long. And then together, let's take a full inhale. Once again, come back to exhaling, let it go through the mouth. It just feels a nicer, bigger release. And then softly open your eyes and come to sit with your right leg extended and the left sole of your foot to the inner thigh. So it looks a little like this. right leg extended, left sole of the foot to the inner thigh. If you find that your body is rolling back, that's okay. Just perhaps get a blanket or cushion to put right underneath your sit bones to help you sit nice and tall. Let's lengthen the arms forwards. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and maybe you inch forwards a little, or maybe it's a lot. It doesn't really matter. Just go with your body. And try to keep a tall spine. So you'll notice that I'm not rounding down and sinking the head and the chin to the chest. I'm staying nice and lifted and really long through the front and back of my spine. Gaze is forwards. And you should feel this into the back of that right leg. Know that you could also, if your knee is really high up here, you could bring a cushion just to support this left leg that's in a half butterfly shape. And so again, doing your best to keep additional fidgeting out. And I know that's hard. But just trying to make the focus of the body and the breath just be purely in this shape. Take a few more breaths. And then come up, and then a very similar position, but slightly different. So rather than now having that leg completely out in front of you, just take that right leg off to the right just a little bit, and you're going to need to draw that left heel into the groin a little bit more. So now it's almost a half wide-legged forward fold. So leg off to the side instead of directly in front of you. And you should feel that shift as to where you feel the stretch in your body. It should now be a little bit more about the inner thigh. Again, spine long, root your sit bones down to the earth. They're going to want to lift up and disconnect, but keep pushing sit bones back. And soften around the kneecaps. Soften around all those places that the body wants to tense into. A few more breaths here. And lift up. And then let's take that opening sequence to the other side. So now it's the left leg that extends directly out in front of you, then the right knee, sole of the foot to the floor, and we come to lean forwards first. So deep breath in, exhale, reaching, lengthening over your left leg. And so you're just very gently warming up through the body, and you're not moving into the deepest expression of this twist. The body's still warming up. So we're only taking these just for a couple of breaths. So it's just a very, try to make this a very light stretch to start with. Keep fueling the body with your breaths. And then let's have a feel of that into the second variation of this pose. So left leg now, a little bit off to the left. Again, there might be a little bit of shuffling onto your hips so that you feel as even as you can through your sit bones. Again, please pad up this knee if you need to. Deep breath in. You can use your hands behind you if that helps you to push forwards. Into your half wide leg forward fold. And you're just trying to stretch out some of the tightness and tension in the back of the legs. Let's take another inhale and exhale. Again, that gaze is really soft. And then let's lift up and transition onto all fours. Pad up your knees if you need to. Bring shoulders over wrists, knees underneath hips. And let's start to move into our cat-cow. So deep breath in, I lift my tail, my chest comes through the arms and gaze lifts. You get that arching into your spine. And then exhale, you take the reverse, you tuck your pubic bone, your pelvis underneath you, you tuck your chin to your chest and you round into your spine and really push into the earth here. That's going to make this pose really nice and big. Again, deep breath in, we open. Deep breath out, tuck and round. Doing your best to keep the arms straight. Deep breath in. And trying not to shift around too much through the shoulders. So we're trying to just keep this around pelvis and around spine. Couple more. Inhaling. Exhaling, your wrist creases are parallel to the front edge of the mat for these first few. Inhale. And exhale, and then come back to a neutral spine, and let's do a little bit of warming up through the wrists. Turn your wrists in and your fingers out. So your fingers are now at 3 and 9 o'clock. Lift up a little through your belly so you have some support from your core center. And just start to rock just a little left and right. And so this is quite tough in the wrists. So in a world where we spend a lot of time either at computers or holding our phones, the wrists end up feeling really stuck and tight. So you're just gently stretching them out. It's not the nicest stretch, so go easy. And then take that again into another move where now the fingertips point back towards the knees. And then from here, just tuck your toes and ever so slightly lean back. It's a real small move. Find stillness here. You'll feel that stretch through the front of your forearms. Deep breath in. Try to relax and soften around the fingers and around the knuckles. Just enjoy the stretch as much as you can. And then slowly, we don't take the wrists from being in one direction to the other. We take it in increments. So come back to your 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Fingers out to the side. Just take a moment to check in with the shoulders, that the tension isn't creeping up to the neck and shoulders. And so pause, little rocks at 3 at 5 o'clock. And then finally, bring your hands back to forward face for a moment. And then come to sit back. And just give your wrists a second to ease out. So take your time. They might feel a little bit ouchy after that work. So just let the circulation come back. And I like to do these almost butterfly circles with my hands. So back of the hands meet and then I circle round. But you can do anything at all just to get some of that blood back. Little shakes. And then let's give the wrists a moment to recover and come all the way down onto the belly. And let's warm up a little bit into the spine. So down you come onto your forearms. Your elbows are a little forwards of your shoulders. Legs are hip distance apart. Soften through your lower back. Lengthen through the back of your neck and just take a couple of breaths here into Sphinx pose. And you're going to feel that stretch through the lower back. And the body wants to grip and tighten and protect, but do your best with every exhale to melt. Get a sense of melting through your muscles. Can you unclench your glutes? And just give your body permission to release, softening that belly button towards the floor. And then release, come all the way down, take the arms out to the side into cactus. So arms are bent, elbow is in line with your shoulder and bring the forehead to the floor. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out and just lift your elbows up and push yourself up into seal. So it's quite wide here, arms are wide. And then release, rebend the elbows, connect forehead to floor. Again, deep breath in, peel up through the elbows. Deep breath out, lower. And if this feels too much, if it feels too high for the lower back, you can come back to Sphinx and release. And there's a little bit of glute engagement now. It's much more of an active back bend. So you're welcome to give a little squeeze of the glutes just to give you some support from the lower body. Let's go 2 more. And gently release. Final one. And release, and then bring your hands underneath your shoulders, come into that traditional cobra, and then ease back into your first downward facing dog. And so this position is going to give you a little bit of a counter stretch to what you've just done. So pedal out through your feet, have your hands shoulder distance apart, and ground strongly into the earth with your hands, particularly through the thumb, particularly through the first finger, just to encourage you to have a little bit more action going on into the midline of your mat rather than rolling onto the outer edges of your hand, which could cause problems or feelings of being uncomfortable in the wrists. So we're trying to spread the weight pretty evenly through our wrists and hands. Keep pedaling, make sure your neck is long. You can shake it and nod it yes and no. And then bring your feet hip distance apart. It's your true downward facing dog shape. Just that reminder here, if you're tight of hamstring and find it very difficult to push the bottom back, is to soften the knees instead and take those hamstrings out. Ground super strong through the hands and lengthen all the way down the spine. And then let's come off the hands, soften your knees as much as you need to enable you to walk your hands back and flop at the back of your mat into your first forward fold. Again, shake out through the head. You can sway right and left and just enjoy that release of tension from your whole back body. Let it go. Doesn't matter if you touch the floor. Doesn't matter if you can only just touch the knees. And then let's slowly roll up. Put that soft bend into the knees. Scoop your belly. Tuck your tailbone underneath you. Press through the inner feet and rise. And when you get there, roll those shoulders back and come to stand at the top of your mat. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Again, inhaling and exhale. Beautiful. Let's take just 2 rounds of 3A to warm up the body. Take an inhale, sweep the arms and lift the chest. Take an exhale through soft knees, lengthen your heart and release over your legs. Hands to shins. Take an inhale, lift up, shoulders back. Bend the knees, set your hands to the floor, step back into plank. Take 1 inhale and exhale. Gently lower your knees, your chest, your chin to the floor. Lengthen your feet back, your heart forwards. Come cobra low or come cobra high. And then transition, exhaling into your downward facing dog. Take a moment to connect once again to your strong foundation of feet hip distance, legs long, hands to the earth. And then bend the knees, look forwards. You can step or you can literally take 100 little steps to get to the top of the mat. Hands to shins, lengthen the heart. And exhale, release and fold. Bend the knees, inhale, rise up. And exhale, connect hands to the heart. Let's take 1 more deep breath in. Circle the arms back, lift the chest strong through the legs. Exhale, soften knees, melt the heart forwards. Hands to shins, shoulder blades onto the back. Inhale, look forwards. And exhale, step back. Top of a push-up hits your plank. Take a deep breath in here, gently lower with control. So we're not collapsing. It's a slow lowering of the chest in between the arms. Snake on through, legs back, heart forwards, cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Deep breath in when you get there. Deep breath out, taking the attention, the awareness, particularly to the shoulders. Just finding a little bit of space around the neck. And then bend the knees to look forwards once again. Step, walk. Inhale, lengthen when you get there. Roll those shoulders back. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, rise up, heart lift. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's move on and bring some twists into our upper body. Deep breath in, circle the arms, lift the chest. Deep breath out, dive over the legs, let it go. This time from here, step your right leg back and bring the knee to the earth. When you get there, circle the arms. Always that sense of lifting the chest to the sky. Just to counterpose all of the things that we do in our life that are much more rounded forwards. We do a lot of that movement. This is your opportunity to open. It should feel really good, very liberating in the body. And then bring your right hand to the floor, left arm to the sky. Take a nice spinal twist here. Stacking your top shoulder on top of your left. And if that's difficult for you to do and maintain this extension of the arm, then bring the hand to the waist instead and work that rolling back of the shoulder from here. For your next two breaths, you have the opportunity to tuck the toe and lift up through that back leg. So really engaged through the quad of your right leg, the thigh. Left knee tracks forward, right heel tracks back. Deep breath in, hands to the floor, release that. Exhale, find downward facing dog. Let's move through a vinyasa. Inhale, plank, and exhale, lower knees, chest, chin. Keep your elbows clipped into your rib cage. Inhale, lengthen, heart lift. And exhale, through soft knees. I like to transition with one knee bent just to protect the back. Take a full inhale and exhale to recover. Bring your feet together. Sweep the right leg to the sky just for a moment. Take an inhale and use that momentum to help you step the right foot forwards. Bring the left knee down. Take just one circle of the arms. So rise up. And hands down, step forwards and melt Uttanasana, standing forward folds. Bend the knees, inhale, sweep and rise up, strong through the feet. Exhale, connect hands to the heart. Let's move through that second side. Inhale, lift up, rise up. Exhale, soft knees, dive and melt. We step the left leg back to the back of the mat. Gently bring the knee down. Circle the arms. Big lift again. Opportunity to lift chest to sky, to draw shoulders down the back, to lift the gaze. Taking your twist second side, left hand to the floor and right arm lifts. And try to make the twist come from the belly as opposed to forcing the right shoulder back. Strong breath. Option to tuck the toe, power up the back leg, only if you wish. It's a bit more challenging in the legs. To inhale, connect hands to the floor, step back, downward facing dog, and just release through the neck. Here's that vinyasa. You're always welcome to skip the vinyasas out if you wish. Inhale, plank, exhale again, lower knees, chest and chin. Inhale, snake your legs back as your heart lengthens forward. Collarbones nice and broad here. And exhale, let it go. Downward dog. Deep breath in. Shake out the head, deep breath out. Feet together. Sweep the left leg to the sky. Inhale, nice and long. Exhale, step it through. If it comes halfway, gently pick it up at the ankle and place it in between the hands. And so that front knee is always tracking right above the ankle and lift up. Take an inhale, set hands to the floor, step forwards, Uttanasana, forward folds. Bend the knees, inhale, rise up, and exhale, hands to the heart. Take a moment, catch your breath, let your body settle. And then let's continue to move and work through our standing poses. So hands lift, inhale. Exhale, dive over the legs. Inhale, come back to that half lift of hands to the shins, lengthen the heart. And from here, just step straight back into downward facing dog. Take 2 breaths. Inhale for 1. And exhale. Inhaling 2. Exhale. Let's bring the feet together once again. Sweep the right leg to the sky. Inhale, lift, and step forwards in between the hands. Let's rise up into your high lunge. And then from here, take an open twist. So take your time just to find that balance and that stability. And then take your right arm back as your left arm comes forwards. Reaching forwards with one hand, reaching back with the other. If you need a little bit more stability, you're welcome to keep the gaze to the front. Take one more inhale and exhale. To windmill the hands back to the front, ground your back heel, warrior 2. Your front heel cuts across your back arch and lunging strongly into that front leg. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Take your left arm, sweep it behind. See if you can take that half bind. So just maybe gripping the edge of your trousers here. You'll feel that stretch into the bottom shoulder. And then tilt pelvis up and come into reverse warrior, reaching back through this top arm. To bring forearm to the thigh, you can unwind that left arm now, and let's just sweep that out with circles, circling back. Inhale, exhale to the floor. Inhale, circle back. Exhale to the floor. Take one more. Inhale. Exhale, touch down, come down onto that bottom knee and pull back into your hamstring stretch. Hands could be on blocks or cushions or anything at all to make this a little easier for you if you can't quite touch the floor today. So quite an intense stretch along the back of this leg. And then just ease back into the lunge so that you have the space to lift up that back knee. And let's transition downward facing dog. Deep breath in, let it go, deep breath out. And let's do that flow second side. We bring the feet together and sweep the left leg to the sky. 2 steps through in between the hands. Get grounded through the feet, get grounded and drop heavy into the pelvis to come up into high crescent. You're on the ball of your back foot. And then let's take the open twist to the second side. I turn to the left. Left arm back, right arm forwards. Really lengthen and reach away and draw your left hip crease back. So you're trying to scissor action the hips. Good, as strong as you can through that back leg. And then we windmill to warrior 2. Arms come forwards, spin flatten onto the back foot, set your left heel in alignment with your right arch and lengthen into your warrior 2. Nice and strong on this left thigh. Take your right arm, that's your back arm, take it behind. It can either stay here with back of the hand to the waist, or maybe you catch something. It'll help you to roll that right shoulder back. Here's the reverse. So that left knee stays tracking forwards to lift up, reversing your warrior. Gaze can be back towards the right shoulder. And that front knee is going to want to collapse in. Keep nice and strong here, lengthening through the inner seam of that front leg. To release, left forearm to the thigh. Unwind the arm. Let's take the circle, circling back. Inhale. Exhale to the floor. Inhale, lift. Exhale, feel that popping and crunching of the shoulder. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the floor. Lift up your back heel to enable you to drop the right knee. And come into your hamstring stretch, second side. To ease into lunge, free up your back leg, take that transition, downward facing dog, let it go, deep breath in, deep breath out. Bring your feet together, sweep the right leg to the sky. Step it through in between the hands. Take your left foot just a little to the left and flatten onto the sole of the foot to come up forward facing warrior one. It's like a lunge, but you are on the sole of that foot. Cross your left arm on top of your right, bend the elbows. You could stay here, or you could take the bind, fingers to hand, into eagle. So a nice shoulder stretch. You should feel this behind the shoulder blades in your back. Elbows lift. And then turn your upper body a little bit to the left. And then see if you can melt, 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 melt into this version of humble warrior. I'm still bending into the right knee tracking over the second toe again. Don't let it roll in, don't let it collapse. To lift up and turn Skandasana to the left. It's like a side lunge. I pivot, extend and straighten my right leg and bend into my left leg. Getting an inner thigh stretch. Still with those eagle arms. Let's unwind, right hand to the shin, and I finish the sequence in triangle. So just moving a little bit around your mat. So there's definitely a degree of trusting that you can free up and fidget the feet to make that work for you. And then hands to the floor. Again, pick up the back heel so that you can pivot the hips square, and then exhale, downward dog. Let's try that sequence to the other side. Left leg lifts. Step through in between the hands. Right foot off to the right. Bring it a little forwards. And sole of the foot, warrior one. This time, right arm on top of left. Bend the elbows, take the bind or keep it open. Elbows lift, heart lifts. Breath in and out. Inhale. Exhale. To take your torso a little to the right, you can stick your sit bones, your bottom back, to melt forwards, humble warrior. If you need to unwind the hands and bring them to the floor for a bit of extra stability, you could do. Nice and soft through the neck. And then lift up to turn to your right leg. So right toes turn out, left toes turn in. Skandasana. To unwind the arms, left toes once again face forwards, triangle pose. To release, hands to the earth. Take downward facing dog. And come down to the knees and rest for a moment in child pose. Let it go. And then let's start to come into our cool down poses. For a moment, let's take melting heart. Take the knees back underneath the hips, reach the arms forwards, and just melt forehead to the floor. Getting a nice sense of melt right in between the shoulders and the mid back. 2, lift up and come to sit. Again, you can be on a blanket, you can be on a cushion. And now coming into the full version of that wide-legged forward fold. So at the beginning, we just did the half version gait. We're now taking that full version with legs out. Take a deep breath in. Knees can be bent if you need to make it easier. And then exhale and melt forwards. Let it go. You're welcome to close down the eyes if you wish. And just give your breath time to slow down and steady if it's rushed away with you. Take 3 more rounds of breath. And then slowly lift up and bring those knees back in. Well done. Come to make your way onto the back. And hug your knees into the chest. And just take a moment to rock and roll from one side to the other, just massaging a little bit through your lower spine. To bring the soles of the feet to the floor, just check that you can just about brush the heels here. Feet are hip distance apart. Get a tuck of your pubic bone. Slowly start to lift the hips. Have the palms connected to the floor and lift into your bridge pose. And so try to lengthen out of your lower back and make this more a heart lift than a crunching into the lower back. And the legs are energetically hugging in together. So imagine that you're squeezing a ball in between the legs, just so that you feel that support from your lower body. Let's take one more inhale and exhale. And then gently release to the floor. And then from here, simply roll onto your belly. So one more back bend in this sequence. So all the way onto tummy and extend your legs hip distance apart. And take your arms back and bring the palms to the floor, coming into locust, but keeping your hands connected here. So here we go. Take an inhale. Lift the upper body. Lift the head and lift the legs. Hands stay connected. And then exhale, let it go. So you feel like you have a little bit of support of hands to earth. Notice that I'm not looking forward now in this back bend. I'm staying with my gaze to the floor, and that really helps the neck to stay long. What happens when we look forward is we shorten and crunch the neck. It doesn't feel very nice. So nice and slow and controlled. Squeeze through your glutes and exhale. So you're building strength into your back. Let's go one more. And release and take that into a child pose, just releasing that work. Big exhale. To come to transition, well done, back onto your back. And then you have that opportunity, unless you have shoulder or neck injuries, you have the opportunity to come into a gentle version of shoulder stand, which we've been working with a little bit over the past few weeks. It's the version that I call pike. So I'm keeping my legs more at a diagonal rather than up to the sky. Yeah, and so I'm just resting on the top of my shoulder blades. If that doesn't feel nice for you, know that a really nice modification, if I just show you to my wall, is to come right up to the wall, hands to the floor, and you could peel your bottom up here. And then you have that stability and safety of feet grounding to the floor. And you can play with lifting a little higher and walking the feet a little higher. And if you would prefer to do none of those, yeah, for those of you who do have injuries, then for your next final few breaths, just work into the inner thigh stretch instead and have knees apart. So you've got 3 options there of your final pose. So wherever you're at, let's take 2 more breaths. So knees apart or into your shoulder stand. Neck is nice and long, whichever version you have picked. And then let's slowly, we meet together with knees into the chest. And let's take our spinal twist. Take your hips to the left, take your knees to the right. Extend your left arm out and take a deep breath in. Let it go, hard work is done. Feeling that lovely rinse into the spine, the stretch through the front of the left shoulder. And move that second side, hips to right, knees to left. And come back to center to find your Shavasana. You're welcome to put your layers on, your jumpers. You're welcome to put a blanket over you. But when you're ready, come to stretch your body out with palms up, eyes closed. Take a deep breath in. Exhale and rest. Allowing the breath to change to something incredibly natural now. And so it might get a little shallower. Softening through the belly. And try to give your body the permission to relax. So get very heavy through the bones of the legs, the arms, the back. And take a few more breaths. To take a deep breath in, out of the mouth. Softly open the eyes, reach the arms overhead, and then gently draw your knees into your chest. Slowly, take your time here, roll over to one side and come to make your way into any comfortable seated position. Roll those shoulders back. Let's take a deep breath in. Let it go. Deep breath out, just noticing how you feel at the end of your practice. And then bring the hands together at the heart center, bowing the head always in gratitude to yourself for carving out this time for self-care. And thank you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me, my friends. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you would like a little bit more information as to what Homes for Lambeth are doing, please check out their website, homesforlambeth.co.uk. Otherwise, I very much look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for joining me.